Am I the jerk for telling my mother that my sister is incompetent because of her? I am 18 years old and in higher education. I am 3 years older than my sister. My mother is currently not working due to a medical condition, but my father works abroad and earns enough to pay the bills without overexerting himself. Due to my mother's condition, I help with almost every chore and household duty, including cooking. I typically do not mind this because she is my mother who raised us with love and care, sacrificing a lot for our sake. I will not pretend we do not get frustrated with each other occasionally, but my family is very close, so arguments usually end in hugs. As of late, especially now that it is summer, we have all noticed that my sister has been particularly malicious to everyone in the house and very lazy. She does nothing unless she is absolutely forced to, including showering, and even then she insists on taking breaks in the middle of mundane tasks. She is barely capable of heating up leftovers, let alone making a simple meal for herself beyond a sandwich. She will cuss out and give the cold shoulder to anyone and everyone, including our very wholesome grandparents who live in another country. Her lack of basic survival skills recently came up in conversation when my mother said that my sister would die in a house full of food. I agreed, but I told her that it was her fault my sister became this way. If she wanted, she could ask my sister to handle more household tasks instead of me and learn, and she could punish my sister for disrespecting anything that moves. My mother is smart and insists that with her physical capacity being limited at the moment, she wants and enjoys being the psychological support for the family. However, being frank, I told her that she is failing. My sister can get away with anything or doing nothing. I am obviously no saint. I also get lazy and refuse to do things. When I do that, I get chewed out, and rightfully so. I am not contesting that. However, when I was 15, even 13, I knew how to at the very least survive and stay clean on my own in case of an emergency. My sister is not stupid either. She could be of help if she wanted to be, but she is not, and I end up carrying her burden. My father's household burden I do not mind carrying. My mother's burden I do not mind carrying, but my sister's attitude is disgusting. My mother told me I was an ass for thinking that way, and is saying that my sister's condition is beyond her. Am I the asshole? You are not the bad guy in this situation. Your sister is growing up in a household that enables this bad behavior, and it should have been addressed well before the age of 15. If a child her age is learning that it is okay to act selfishly like this without repercussions, she will continue this trend, and it will become a huge problem when she is too old to use her family as a crutch. Talking it out with a professional therapist might be good for your whole family. Am I the jerk for not trusting my partner? Backstory. A little over a year ago, my boyfriend cheated on me with one of his employees. He told me that he was leaving me for her, then took it back and acted like we were still together. He said he was confused and did not know what he wanted. He wanted us to take a break while he continued to see this other girl, and I was not allowed to see anyone. I was pregnant with our third child, and making things work as a single mother of 2 was already going to be hard, but now it would be 3 kids. The girl he was seeing found out about his situation and decided not to see him anymore. I ended up moving in with my mother across the country, and eventually, he decided to relocate. Things got better for a while. Now, he is working at the same restaurant concept in this state, Hooters. He just transferred over. I feel like he should know that he needs to rebuild our trust, but he just does not understand. I try not to get jealous, but I honestly just feel traumatized. He cheated on me with one of his employees, so that is my biggest trigger. Every time I say something, he explodes and tells me I will never trust him. Today, I went to pick him up from work, and he was very late. The kids were screaming and very overtired. He told me he had to go buy tampons for the store. I asked if it could wait, and he just exploded. He was so mad that I asked. I was really shocked by how upset he was. He slammed the door on me and went into a gas station to see if they had any. I was mostly concerned about the fact that we were already so far from home and all 3 kids were extremely upset. Still, in the back of my head, it felt abnormal that he would be this angry. I told him it felt really suspicious. I asked him which employee it was, and he refused to tell me. When he cheated on me with the other Hooters girl, he had refused to tell me her name as well, before I knew he was cheating. All I said to him after this was, "Oh, okay, I understand now," and just went quiet. He told me I was blowing things way out of proportion and that I was just never going to trust him again. Eventually, he did end up telling me her name. She is extremely pretty and exactly his type. Recently, he has been going out of his way to look nicer. I told him that I do not think things are working out, and he started calling me stupid for being jealous over an employee. I told him I feel hurt because of everything he did in the past, and that I wished he would not get so defensive. I asked him to stop trying to make me feel dumb, and he just kept saying I was. It has not even been a full year since we officially got back together, and I feel like I deserve some time to build that trust back. But he seems to think I am being unreasonable. I do not even know if I am in the right here. Am I being crazy? Am I the asshole here? You are not the one at fault. He is clearly manipulating and emotionally abusing you. Every time you say something, he explodes and tries to make it seem like you don't trust him, which is a tactic to control you. This is worse than the cheating and very unlikely to change. Leave him and get therapy for your well-being and your kids. Am I the jerk for charging my cousin $75 to take my S5 to college when he didn't return it when he was supposed to 4 months ago? So I have a cousin from a poorer household that lives with my grandmother on my mother's side because he could get better school opportunities. Being from a poorer household, he had no video games, or at least he did, and his father would sell the systems or pawn them off. One weekend in April 2024, he asked if he could use my PlayStation 5 for a weekend to play a Fortnite event. I agreed because it was just one weekend, and there hasn't been anything I've been dying to play since I've been going through an older series on PlayStation 3. Every few weeks I asked him to return it because there were games I wanted to play on it, and he would never bring it. As I am currently saving to buy a car in full cash, and he doesn't live near a bus line, I have had no way to get to him. Being a busy adult with a job and a life outside of video games, I was able to make do, but it was nonetheless frustrating. Last Sunday I called my grandmother to get it from him, and she said to wait until Saturday when he leaves to go to school. I said that's fine. A day later, I got a call from my cousin asking if he could borrow my PlayStation 5 in his dorm room until the end of the semester. Our family has a tradition of helping provide for college-going kids. I let my brother borrow my bicycle to get around the dorm in 2016, and when I went to school, my brothers let me take our Wii U with all the games we had back in 2014. So we try to do that for each other. This is the conversation we had. You've had my PlayStation 5 since April, dude. I haven't even been able to play everything I wanted without having to ask others if I could come over and use theirs or buy it on my Xbox Series, as a much weaker system. Yeah, but my mom said if my grades are good, she'll get me one for Christmas, so we'll be straight after that. It's just going to be in my dorm room. I'll take care of it. Okay, fine. But I need you to bring it back Monday because I'm off until Wednesday, and that'll be enough time to beat this game I've been trying to play since May. I'm an hour away from home right now. Cool. Doesn't matter. Drop your friends off or dip and bring my PlayStation 5 back now. Bet. Aight. I got you. He hung up and said he was on the way. That was 3 days ago. Yesterday, I sent him a text saying, "You want to use my PlayStation 5? You owe me $75. Then I called my grandmother and told her, in a much more gentle way, the situation and asked her to relay that information to him. My grandmother did relay this information, but she also told my mother about it. She's a gossip. And my mom is saying I'm not being fair to my cousin. I told her it wasn't about asking to use my PlayStation 5. It has been months of disrespect in general, and this was the final straw. He has a job. He has no bills. If he can't give me $75 to show care for care given, then he can't use my PlayStation 5, and 2 controllers too, I might add. I don't regret what I did or asked, but I wanted to ask others how they felt. Am I the asshole? You are not in the wrong. If he has a job and no bills, he can get himself his own PS5. You've been more than patient and generous. He was supposed to have it for 3 days and now wants it for 7 months. Am I the jerk for being snippy when answering my sister-in-law's question about twin names? I am a 28-year-old female and a twin. My sister and I have matching names. By matching, I do not mean like Eva and Eve, but more like Lily and Rose, Robin and Dove, or Joy and Faith. We never minded. We each like our names. They do present us as a pair, but it was never a problem for us. I know this is not the case for all twins or even siblings. My husband's sister is pregnant with twins. She and her husband are expecting 2 boys. They are not on the same page with names. My sister-in-law's husband does not mind if they match like ours, but my sister-in-law does mind, and she does not want it. Part of their problem is they are gravitating to names that do match. My sister-in-law asked me 2 months ago how I felt about my sister and my names matching as much as they do. I told her it did not bother me at all. We never disliked it, but not everyone feels the same as us. She asked if I would ever do it, and I said maybe if that is how it worked. She has asked me the same question at least 20 times since that first time. Each time she takes my answer and thanks me, but it does not stop her from asking again. 2 times ago, I mentioned that I had answered it before and my thoughts had not changed, so could she please stop asking the same question? She was like, "Oh yeah, sorry," very flippantly. The last time, my husband told her we could all do with a different topic of conversation. Last weekend, we had some of my husband's family over for dinner. We were all having a great time. Conversation was flowing. Laughs were had. Then my sister-in-law, out of nowhere and interrupting the topic at the time, asked me yet again if I had a problem with twin names. I was frustrated, not going to lie. I responded with a sigh and told her no. Like I told her each and every time she asked me that question, I did not have an issue with it. I never had an issue with it. I did not see that changing this week or next week. However, everyone is different when it comes to whether they care or not. My sister-in-law told me there was no need to be so snippy because she was just asking a question. She wanted her husband to hear the answer. My husband and his 2 brothers pointed out they all heard the answer at least 7 different times. His other sister said she was on her 10th time hearing me give the same answer, and that she also heard the additional info of whether I would name twins matching names if I had them. My sister-in-law said it did not excuse me being rude and snippy, and that I could have just ignored her. It would have been more polite. She accused me afterward of getting her siblings to gang up on her, Am I the asshole? Nothing you have done here makes me think you are the jerk. This is a classic manipulation tactic, asking the same question repeatedly until they get the answer they want. You showed way more patience than most would have. If it comes up again, just say sweetly, same answer as last time, and immediately change the topic. Am I the jerk for my reaction to my mom telling me that my doctor said I'll be more beautiful when I lose weight? My mom, who is 70 years old, and I, who am 29 years old, go to the same primary physician. I've seen him before, but only a couple of times. My mom has been his patient for a few years. I went for a checkup recently and shared with him that I've been on my weight loss journey, losing 30 pounds since February. I am a size 16 now and have always been heavy. I have always tried but struggled to lose weight. From 2020 to 2021, I gained almost 50 pounds. Then I lost the 50 pounds by the end of 2022, but I fell off the wagon because I was depressed and gained 40 pounds back. I've lost 30 pounds so far this year, and I'm doing better at it than ever before. I am a first-generation American Persian. My parents and the doctor are Persian. In my experience, Persian doctors are more casual with Persian patients. My mom and I live together, so she obviously knows everything about me. I've always hated my weight. Growing up Persian made it even harder. I swear my extended family and family friends were worse to me than the bullies in school. They were so passive-aggressive about it and always saw me as less of a person. Like I was the biggest eyesore in the room and simultaneously the most invisible. An inconvenience. I also want to make it clear that my mom has become very supportive and compassionate with me about my weight. She used to make ignorant comments when I was younger, but she's gotten so much better and I really appreciate it. Today, my mom told me that yesterday, when she went to her appointment, the doctor asked if I am her daughter. We have different last names. She said yes, and he said that I am a beautiful young woman, and that it's good she's losing weight. She'll be more beautiful when she loses more. My mom told me this like he was really complimenting me. She really believes that, and she was telling me with a smile on her face. As soon as she told me, I told her to please not tell me that he even said that in the first place. That I wish she'd kept that to herself. She ignored me and tried to continue the story, like there was nothing to be heard about. I said I didn't want to hear the rest of the story and repeated what I'd said. She responded, "Why not? It's a compliment." I said, "No, it's not." She kept repeating that he was complimenting me, defending him. I said, "Only older Persians like you guys think it's a compliment. It's a backhanded compliment. And even if he and you thought he was being nice, it's not to me, and you should know that and shouldn't have told me what he said." She got frustrated and annoyed with me. Basically, she thought I was making something out of nothing. What bothers me more isn't that she told me, but that she kept making me and my feelings wrong. She, of course, hasn't apologized, and instead, we were both upset and ignored each other for a bit. We love each other so much, but I don't understand why she always has to defend the person that makes these kinds of comments and treats me like I'm overly sensitive or asking for a fight. So, am I the asshole? You have done nothing wrong. The doctor should not have discussed you with another patient, even if that patient happened to be your mother. His comments were inappropriate on multiple levels, and you can report this. Also, it might be a good idea to find a new doctor who doesn't also see your mom. Am I the jerk for telling my parents that they don't get to ask questions and blow up when they dislike the answers? My parents are messy people. They were together for years, had my brother, who is 28 years old and male, and broke up when he was 8 years old but stayed married, just not living together, and neither filed for divorce. They ended up getting back together after a few years and had me, who is 17 years old and female. But they were over for good by the time I was 1 year old and had finally filed for divorce. Both got into other relationships and cheated on those other relationships with each other before finally settling into the marriages they're currently in. I was 8 years old when my mom got married and 10 years old when my dad got married. Those relationships had started 2 or 3 years before the marriages. My mom's husband had 2 kids when he met my mom, both younger than me. Together they had 2 more kids who are now 7 and 4 years old. My dad's wife had 3 kids technically when they got married. One is her stepchild who sees her as her mom. The other 2 are her biological kids from the marriage with the stepchild's father. Together they have a 5-year-old, and they have taken in his wife's 2 nephews from her sibling who died and they adopted them. There has been this tug of war between sides for as long as I can remember them being together. My brother opted out of it and could by the time it started, but I was stuck with it. My mom and dad wanted me to prefer their side. They shoved their kids and stepkids down my throat so I would have a stronger relationship with either side. They compete for me to show the most attention to their family. They make it into something crazy and way too complicated. According to my dad, I am supposed to see his side as true siblings, even the non-biological ones, and love them more than anything else. According to my mom, it is her side I should feel that way about. They have always asked which siblings I prefer, or they ask leading questions about which side I prefer where it is not directly asking me that, but you know that's what it's about. 2 days ago, we had a meeting with people from my school. It is my senior year, and I have an individualized education program, IEP, for school, for speech and reading. During the meeting, they brought personal stuff into it, and it spilled out more once we left. They directly asked me which siblings I prefer and who I am the closest to. How do I really feel? I told them my brother is the only sibling I really love, that he is my favorite family member and really the only sibling I have a connection to. I also mentioned that I see him more than they realize. They were shocked, not only about my answer but the fact my brother and I stayed close and see each other when he doesn't ever see any of the other kids. Then my parents got angry. They started yelling, and that is when I told them they cannot ask questions and then blow up at me when they do not like my answers. My parents said they can do what they like as my parents, and they made it another big deal yesterday. I had my mom on the phone, and since I was at my dad's, he was harassing me about it yesterday. Am I the asshole? Your actions don't make you a jerk. Your parents definitely are. Parents can't just do whatever they like, especially when it involves using their children to hurt each other. It's unfair and wrong on so many levels to pressure someone into choosing sides or preferring one set of siblings over another. Chin up. You only have one more year, and then you can move out and hopefully stay with your older brother. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.